You have 3 educators, okay, with you. So we understand students and hopefully the Constitution at the same time. Okay. My name is Hank Bitton. I'm going to be the lead judge, so it means that I get to read the opening question, for you. I'm a retired social studies supervisor from Ramapo Indian Hills High School. Spent my whole life promoting civic education, economics, writing the state standards for New Jersey, and certainly glad to be here as a judge, and I've judged this competition before. Sarah?
My name is Sarah Bucher, and I teach U.S. History and American Government in Northern Mass School in South Brunswick, and I supervise K-12 social studies.
I'm Andrew Murphy. I teach in the political science department here at Rutgers.
And I'm Saul Height. I'm a retired social worker.
We also have a special guest with us today, Irina. Oh, she's over here. Irina's on a Fulbright. She's at Seton Hall University. She's from Lithuania, and she is writing a curriculum for the state schools in Lithuania on government and civics and the Constitution, and so she's just so excited to see what you know and what we do. It's a great way to learn. Now we'd like to hear a little bit about you, so tell us your name, of course, and maybe what grade level you're in, or your class, or if you're in any activities, but just don't tell us the name of your school.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kathleen Lee. I'm a senior at my high school, and yeah.
No senioritis? Are you being accepted to a college
Not
yet?
yet, not yet. But senioritis.
Well, Rutgers
Oh
will
yeah,
apply.
that's true.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Akil, and I'm a senior.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a senior. I was admitted to Rutgers. Hi, my name is Derek, and I was also admitted to Rutgers. Hi, my name is Emil, and I'm a senior, and this is our teacher, Mr. Robin.
Good morning. Very good, very good. Okay, so we will not begin the time until Kathleen says yes. Okay, then we will push the start button. Okay. So I'm going to read to you the first question, which even though you already know it, you prepared for it. Here it goes. The Virginia Declaration of Rights was the first written enumeration of the rights of citizens and the fundamental principles of government in the newly independent United States. What ideas drawn from the natural rights philosophy were incorporated into the Virginia Declaration of Rights? And there are 2 bullets we want you to address. What ideas drawn from classical republicanism are included in the Virginia Declaration of Rights? And the second bullet, what rights that Americans enjoy today under both their state and federal bills of rights were declared first in the Virginia Declaration of Rights? And you will have 4 minutes to answer the question. Tell us when you are ready.
The Virginia Declaration of Rights drew on the natural rights concept of the social contract, the right to alter or abolish government, human equality, rule of law, limited government, popular sovereignty, individual natural rights and their inalienability, consent of the governed, and the purpose of government being the protection of rights and freedom. Sections 1 through 3 of the document outline the Lockean theory of social contract. They recognize the right of the people to establish a new government if the current one no longer protects their natural rights.
Section 2's claim that power comes from the people illustrates popular sovereignty, while Section 6 provides the means to actuate this through suffrage. Professor Akil Amar emphasizes the importance of popular sovereignty, noting that rights references to the people echoes the preamble's commitment to the ultimate sovereignty of we the people. Section 1 of the Virginia Declaration, which states that all men have certain inherent rights, epitomizes Alexander Hamilton's argument that the sacred rights of mankind can never be erased or obscured by mortal power.
Classical republicanism influenced the Virginia Declaration through concepts of mixed representative government, the importance of common good, civic virtue, property, religion, equality before law, and participation. The common good reflected in Aristotle's statement that science of politics must be the end of man, the end of the good of man, can be found in Section 3 of the Virginia Declaration, which explains that government is, or ought to be, instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people. Civic virtue is reflected in the Virginia Declaration statement that no free government or blessing of liberty can be preserved to any people but by firm adherence adherence to justice, moderation, and virtue, and by frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. The classical Republican concept of equality before law, which Euripides described as the rich and poor alike having equal justice, is included in Section 4 of the Virginia Declaration, which states that no man is entitled to exclusive or separate emoluments or privileges. The classical Republican perception of the importance of political rights and participation is found in the prohibitions on hereditary offices in Section 4 and the suffrage protections of Section 6.
Current U.S. constitutional and states' rights found in the Virginia Declaration include natural, inalienable rights, as well as rights to religion, press, militia, trial by jury, and protections against unwarranted search and seizure, excessive bail, and cruel and unusual punishment. The natural or inherent rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which underlie the U.S. Constitution, can be found in Section 1 of the Virginia Declaration, as well as states' constitutions like Arkansas and Alaska. Section 16 of the Virginia Declaration protects free exercise of religion, which is also found in the United States Constitution's First Amendment and in New Jersey's Constitution, which states that no person shall be deprived of the inestimable privilege of worshiping Almighty God. Freedom of the press, which is found in the First Amendment, is guaranteed in Section 12 of the Virginia Declaration, which describes it as one of the greatest bulwarks of liberty. Texas and New Jersey echo this ideal, with Texas noting that every person shall be at liberty to speak, write, or publish his opinion on any subject.
Section 13 of the Declaration provides the right to bear arms, while the Second Amendment and Alaska and Georgia's Bill of Rights states that a well-regulated militia shall not be infringed. Section 10 of the Declaration lays the foundation for the Fourth Amendment's limitations on search and seizure, as well as those of Ohio's and Nevada's constitutions, citing that general warrants are grievous and oppressive and ought not to be granted. Section 9 of the Declaration recognizes the right to an impartial jury, which is found in the Sixth Amendment, as well as the Massachusetts and Wisconsin constitutions. The Declaration's protection of the right to bail and limitation on cruel and unusual punishment are found in the Eighth Amendment, as well as the state constitutions of Alabama and Minnesota.
Perfect timing. Okay. You want to put your notes away now? But you have high name cards there. It's not your constitutional right to use them. We have some follow-up questions, and we're going to begin with Sarah.
What do you consider to be the greatest challenges to individual rights today, and what are some of your solutions to them?
I think the greatest challenge to individual rights today is the growing restriction on rights in terms of the war on terror and the rights to privacy and the rights to the protections against search and seizure, which are being violated in the name of the common good. And as we see in recent years, these rights have become easily violated by national agencies that after the bombing of 9/11.
Right, I think another issue is because our country is so large and diverse, we have all these different people with different viewpoints, and so they're going to be pushing for the protection of different natural rights. For example, in recent years, there's been a lot of debate over the right to marriage between homosexuals. And so there's one side who believes that it's not right, but then the other side pushes for it. And because you have this dichotomy of beliefs between people, it's hard to secure the right to marriage for all people, regardless of their sexual orientation.
The Akerlof and Canton models were made by two sociologists that describe the same scenario that we are talking about right now. The scenario consists of a society composed of many different people and diverse peoples at that. And they were unable to pass a certain legislation or things that push for individual rights because they all have their own wants and needs. So that diversity created an impasse for them to protect their own natural rights.
Another issue would be the definition of an individual right, whether it just pertains to a single person or whether it can relate to a greater body of people. During the Citizens United versus the FEC case, we saw
the argument made that the individual can be defined by more than just one person, but the ability to express one's campaign interests in the form of a business, which is the collective of more than one person. But yet, the court found that it is within the business's rights because they can be defined as an individual.
I was going to ask about the Declaration of Independence, but you actually covered this really nicely in your presentation. So I wonder if I could ask a bit something a little different. George Mason's original draft of the Declaration used the phrase toleration to describe how religious minorities ought to be treated. Madison persuaded the convention to change that language to the free exercise of religion. And I wonder if you could say something about why that change might be significant. What that means, or why that might be something worth considering.
The word toleration implies more of a forced restraint and a show of respect towards people of different religious beliefs than the majority might have. What we have in the Virginia Declaration shows that all religions must be respected. That, as Section 16 says, that everyone must show Christian forbearance towards people of different beliefs.
In a more recent case, the corporation Hobby Lobby had a case regarding whether they had to provide contraception for its workers, and the Supreme Court ruled that due to their free exercise of religion, that they did not have to provide contraception to its workers, even though that had been the case for many years.
Bringing it back to the time of George Mason's drafting, I think the word toleration merely means almost it's not such a positive word. If you merely tolerate someone, then that means you live alongside them, but free exercise gives them the right to practice their beliefs. And we know that the founding of the United States was based on a lot of groups escaping from religious persecution, such as the Puritans or even the French Huguenots coming from France. And so because of this, it was important to give people this free exercise of religion.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask you a question about the social contract. How would you explain the social contract? A couple of you mentioned in your opening remarks that government should benefit all the people. And we often talk in our media today that it only benefits 1% or, you know, a small group, but a lot of people are forgotten under that. Explain what the social contract means for us today.
When John Locke wrote in the two treatises of government, he talked about the social contract as being a way to increase the freedom for people. In a state of nature, it's tough to preserve one's own rights, but once we establish a government and establish law, freedom of the people can be much more easily protected by the government. And once we enter that social contract with the government has the power, and we give them the power to address our rights and protect our rights.
The social contract, there's a difference between Rousseau's social contract and Locke's social contract. And Rousseau's referred to the general will, so the people as a whole coming together to form a social contract, and that was assuming that there was only one general will, whereas Locke's was more of an individuals coming together to form the social contract. So I think today we have more of a general will type of social contract that does not really reflect certain individuals who may I finish my sentence?
There's time. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Applaud them. At this point, we will share, some comments. Hopefully, they're helpful for you. I mean, I'll begin, kind of like Dancing with the Stars. I'll say, fabulous. I really would say what I gained from your presentation, I would want to commend you on your many references to other state constitutions, your many references to the historical foundations, going back to the Greeks and the Romans, certainly quoting sociological professors throughout. Your both presentations and the follow-up was extremely well documented and prepared. I like the way you started off, Kathleen. You've got excellent speaking skills. You're enthusiastic, clear, concise. You got the group started off on a nice pattern. Throughout the presentation, you triggered questions in my mind, which was good. And I don't find any faults. I just wish we had another hour and a half to discuss things with you.
I agree with you. I think you guys did a great job presenting. I think I'm very impressed by your prepared response, again, by your reference to the various different states. Also, I liked how you paralleled everything and it was very organized and we presented how the Virginia Declaration of Rights was parallel to other founding documents. For the question about the current issues, I think you answered that, the first part of that very well in giving some examples of some challenges today. I think moving forward, perhaps maybe going into what are some solutions to those challenges. That part of the question about, so what should be done about that? But I think you did a fabulous job and best of luck moving forward.
Right. Yes, I echo everything. I thought the mention of the state constitutions was a really nice touch. I assume you're telling us the truth because the Arkansas Constitution is not really at the tip of my tongue. But if you tell me that Article 16 is there, I will take your word for it. And working in the Citizens United case, the Hobby Lobby case, and so on, I think was a touch. I feel like I need to find something to say that should be. I didn't quite catch the name of the social psychologist. Okay, so maybe that I just wasn't listening. I had tuned out, but that was a very strong presentation. Yeah, you all obviously, if you're seniors, you've been here. Maybe you've been doing this before. You've seen previous generations of your colleagues, and you really do come across like you know what you're doing. You're prepared, and it was a nice session.
And next year at this time, two of them will be in your course.
That's always
Talking about
possible.
the
I'm
social
always
contract.
looking for, I've got plenty of East Brunswick grads in my courses.
Do you have any questions of us?
They just want to be done.
And you thank all of them for getting you out of school for a day. Very nice job.
Very nice job.
Thank you.